Welcome to the Echo Driving School channel. The video I'm going to be talking about today will be about the Morden Test Centre. This test was conducted on Boxing Day of last year, and it was conducted in an automatic car, and unfortunately this student did not succeed, and I want to talk about where he failed. Now, if anybody is familiar with Morden Test Centre, they will see that the Morden Test Centre is on the right hand side. If you're not familiar, you start your driving test on main roads, and depending on what time your test is, this test was conducted at 8:57. And because it was on a Boxing Day, he could pretty much park wherever he wanted. But generally speaking, if you're doing a test before 9 o'clock, the examiners or the exam centres do tell you to face the traffic lights and not go towards what's known as the Beverley Roundabout. So I was parked near the car wash inside a red route box that you can park there between the hours of 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. And I find from experience, generally speaking, if you are parked towards the traffic lights, they will take you towards the Sutton route, the Rose Hill, or they could come around and go towards the Morden Town Centre, Lower Morden. They could go towards Mitcham and towards Morden Hall Park. Again, depending on who you're learning with, every school or driving instructor will have their own route. So you park accordingly to where your instructor tells you. Now, the road that he's on is a 30 miles an hour route. So this is his first pulling up on the left, so the examiner has told him to pull up somewhere safe. So make sure before you pull off, you use your POM routine, putting it into first gear if you're doing a manual car, or into drive for automatic. Make sure you do your 6-point check, including your right blind spot twice, and then give a signal as and when necessary, and make progress. Now, as he goes down this road, he is going to be approaching a mini roundabout where there are going to be 3 exits, the one on the left, ahead and right. So make sure you slow yourself down. You glance to your right as we give way to the right hand side. If there's nobody coming, then you can edge forward, glance to the left, and a final look to your right, and then make progress. As you go through this road, you will see that there are a couple of zebra crossings coming, as there is a school ahead of us. Now, on this road, there are going to be some parked cars on both sides. So as you're negotiating, make sure that you are not making too much speed. Drive at a speed in which you can brake safely and react to any hazards. So that's the zebra crossing I'm talking about. As you go down here, you're going to be coming up to a harvester on the left, and then a major junction where if you were to turn right, it is the 40 miles an hour, and this route goes towards the A217. If you do a left here, it's 40 miles an hour, and that goes towards Rose Hill. And if you go ahead here, you are going onto a 30-mile head road where you are going towards Sutton train station. As you can see in the video, it was a very beautiful sunny day last year, Boxing Day. So the glare will be something that you want to get yourself used to. So for anybody who's taking their tests in the winter months, it might be a good idea to try and practice wearing some shades. It really does help with the glare, or you're going to be really struggling to see what's ahead. In the video I can barely see where he's going, but I think he's going to be going around this bend on this 30 miles an hour zone, and then there should be a left hand coming up. This is it's going towards the Rose Hill roundabout, and then on into the Sutton area where there is a Tesco Express on the left. Once he goes there, he's going to be doing his second pulling up on the left hand side, where it's somewhere safe, convenient and legal. Now remember, while you're looking at the video, you will see that there are times he does pull up on a single yellow lane, which is perfectly acceptable it's a bank holiday and he's avoiding driveways, and clearly it is allowed to do so, and the examiner does not make any comment in terms of where he's pulling. Now the examiner does say to him to move off when it's safe to do so. So like I said previously, there's going to be a lot of pulling up on the left and moving off. Make sure that you do really practice these pulling in and pulling outs, and the POM routine is very important. It's your milestone of driving. If you can't actually pull off safely and your instructor has to touch the steering wheel, or your clutch is jerky and the car moves, then you're clearly not ready for the test. I have noticed recently a lot of people do want to go for their test because they've booked it like 4 or 5 months in advance, and as they get nearer to the test time, they're just not ready. I mean, you've maybe not had enough practice, or could be something else, but the general idea is if you cannot drive without any instruction, then you are not ready for the test. By the time you go for the test, as a benchmark, as the DVSA tell you, and as I am saying it as well, if your instructor has to help you in any shape or form, and if it's a regular occurrence where you don't know what gear you need to be in and so forth, make sure you change your test and you practice. The exam dates are so long to get, you do not want to go to do these driving tests over and over again. The stress, the money, it's just not worth it. So what he's doing along here is a 30 miles an hour zone, and he is going towards the Rose Hill roundabout, where unfortunately he fails. And as we get here, I'm going to start explaining the reason why he fails. First of all, as he approaches the roundabout, he will hear, and you won't hear on the video, but I'm telling you, there is going to be an ambulance coming from his right hand side, and he does notice the first ambulance, and unfortunately this is where he does get a bit discombobulated, because of the very idea that he sees an ambulance from the right, and he rightly does stop and acknowledge and give ways to the ambulance, but as he approaches, he then doesn't see the second ambulance, which is coming from the left. Now on this section, the examiner did say to him, I would advise you to be on the left hand lane. So he does take the advice initially, and as he goes along here, it's initially a red light. You can see the ambulance on the right hand side, so pause the video if you want to make sure you don't miss it. And the ambulance goes off at their first exit. As he goes here, he hears the ambulance and he moves to the right, and then this is where the examiner brakes. As you can see, the car stops, and then he did not see this ambulance coming from the left hand side. Also, because of that, he moved to the right, thinking that the ambulance is coming from his right hand side, the one he previously saw, and the examiner gave him 2 serious faults here. One, for moving over to the right hand side without looking at his mirrors, and the other one for not actually stopping for the ambulance. So it's a very unfortunate event, but I just think he got confused with hearing 2 simultaneous ambulances, and when you're nervous, on a roundabout, it can happen, but hopefully practice as much as one can. The problem with emergency vehicles is it's not an everyday occurrence. I've been through many hours of lessons and where I haven't seen a single ambulance, and if you're driving outside of London, you might not see any at all. The theory is there, and what does the theory states? That if you hear or see an ambulance, if it's safe to do so, pull up somewhere on the left and allow the ambulance to pass. However, if you're in London and a very busy area, you're better off sometime just to sit in the lane you're in and let the ambulance use a bus lane, because they're allowed to, we're not. So make sure that you have plenty of practice. Now, on this route is a 40 miles an hour zone, and you will notice that the left hand side is a 24-hour bus lane. So make sure you get into the right lane early on as you change lanes, because you do want to be left on a dual carriageways at all times. At the end of this road there is a roundabout, and the examiner told the student to turn right, and it's the third exit. The sign is just coming up. You will probably see the sign for Mitcham and Croydon. So again, if you need to pause it, you can pause it here and look at it, and it's the third exit. So obviously, because I've said turn right, third exit, you're going to stay on the right hand lane. You're going to give a right signal. The right side is a traffic light control partly. You stay on the inside lane. So he's doing all of this correctly. You go past the first exit, and then you have the second exit coming up. Make sure you check your left mirror here, and then you give a left signal, check again, and then come off safely on the left. And then you've got a pedestrian crossing traffic light. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's a 20-mile-an-hour zone, and it's a very easy one to miss. There are repeater signs, so if you do miss the first one, there's the second sign saying 20, and there was one previously. There's quite a lot of signs round the bend, all at 20 miles an hour, and it's a bit bendy. There's the third sign, so you see they are constantly there. You just have to look for it. There's another pedestrian crossing, so make sure you're doing your routine on how to approach pedestrian crossings. You've got a bend on the road, so make sure you check your right mirror. There are parked cars around, so check your left mirror to see how far you are from them. And then you're going to come up to a zebra crossing, so make sure we're doing our MSPSL routine as we are approaching it, and anticipate any pedestrian that could possibly be there. Obviously, repeating that it's a Boxing Day, you're not going to see that much traffic around. Now over here, the examiner did say to the student, can you pull up on the left somewhere safe? Now he does choose on a double yellow line. Now I wouldn't really choose to stop on a double yellow line. The examiner didn't really, when I heard the debrief, he didn't mention anything about that double yellow line. It could be because it's a Boxing Day, but as a general rule, you should not pull up on a double yellow, double red, single yellow or single red when you are looking for a safe place to park, when the examiner says pull up on the left somewhere safe. So obviously you can see this is a double yellow, and even a police car went literally just past him over here. Doesn't make an issue of it. So it's I don't think it's a major fault, but as a general rule, do not pull up anywhere that's not legal to pull up. Then the examiner tells him to move off. So again, remember your blind spots, checking over your right shoulder before you signal, and then check again and move off. He approaches the traffic lights, and then the examiner will tell him, remember here is two dedicated lanes. You've got a left lane, so if you're in that left lane you can only turn left, so make sure you position yourself on the right hand side, watch out for the cycle lane, and stop beforehand as he's done over here. I mean, the rest of his drive he didn't really make any major mistakes at all, so it is a good drive generally. Very unlucky to have two ambulances simultaneously coming, and unfortunately he didn't see one of them, and it can happen. So practice the Rose Hill roundabout plenty. Now when the lights do turn, he's going to turn right here, and then he's going to go into the there's like a football AstroTurf here car park, which the examiners do use. It's the one past the Mitcham fire station, and then past the small bridge, and opposite the petrol pump. He goes in there and he does his maneuver, which was either the forward parking or the reverse bay parking. So have a look at it. There's not really much to say here in terms of the general drive. It's fairly quiet road, so he makes progress. There's a few mirrors that the examiner said he didn't look before he made progress or before he braked, so make sure we do the MSM routine at all times. So I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Keep watching. I'm going to be adding more videos as the months and weeks go ahead. And thanks for all the support for watching my channel. Until then, if anybody has a test, best of luck, and hopefully my videos help you guys passing your test. Thank you.